Hey everybody, welcome to the Ron Line Report. Today, got to talk about this man, Kai Greene. Just got another invite to the Mr. Olympia event for this September, and it's not as big news as it might have been if it had been the first time. But Kai's been invited for the past few years, and he has not chosen to enter the contest. Kai was the runner-up to Phil Heath 3 years in a row, 2012, 13, 14. He's the guy who pushed Phil Heath the hardest, and he's definitely, I think, and many people think, he's the bodybuilder who has the best chance of beating Shawn Rhoden this year and winning the Mr. Olympia. And nothing against Shawn Rhoden at all, but I do believe Kai Greene at his best. I don't believe Shawn at his best could beat him. I mean, Kai's just a phenomenal bodybuilder. He's got a very unique physique. He packs so much dense muscle, crazy detail, crazy shape with those bicep peaks and the quad flares and grooves and hatches and the hamstrings and the glutes and the quads, and it's just quite a physique. It's a Mr. Olympia physique. The first thing that the first reaction a lot of people had was, why Kai? Why isn't somebody else? That's not fair that he gets a special invite. And they don't understand the whole special invite is really something that's been around for a very long time. In fact, older fans will remember Gunther Schlierkamp used to get invited to the Mr. Olympia every year for many years. And Gunther never qualified for the Olympia in those years. He was someone who wasn't really doing that well in shows. He'd be top 5 a few times here and there, but at the Mr. Olympia contests, he typically wouldn't do any better than 8th, 9th, 10th at the best. He did have that breakout year where he got 5th place, and then he beat Ronnie at the Show of Strength. But why was Gunther given that special invite by Joe Weider, who was still alive at the time? You guys, you have to understand the Mr. Olympia, it's a sporting event, it's a competition, but it's very much a business. It exists to turn a profit, just like, the NFL games you watch, the NBA games. It's a business. It's all about making money. That's what professional sports are. They're money-making ventures. It's where there are team owners, there are networks, there are sponsors. It's all tied into money. So is the Mr. Olympia contest. And Gunther was invited all those years because he was very marketable. People loved him. He had tons of fans. He was this big 6-foot-plus, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, good-looking guy, very marketable. And it made more sense for the Mr. Olympia contest financially to have him in it than not to have him in it. Same thing. You want to sell tickets to Mr. Olympia this year? You have no Phil Heath. Phil is sitting it out. He's building back his physique. He'll most likely come back next year. Flex Lewis is also gone. He's taking off the year, and he'll be back next year. So, you have Shawn Rhoden as Mr. Olympia, and how do you really build excitement without a big rematch like Shawn versus Phil, which, theoretically next year. But the best dramatic scenario would be Kai Greene coming back after all these years. This would be 5 years away from the Mr. Olympia contest if he comes back this year. Kai Greene coming back and finally getting that title that he's wanted for his whole life as a bodybuilder. As all top bodybuilders, they want to be Mr. Olympia. So will Kai come back? A lot of people would just say no because, Kai was very disgruntled. I feel he was disenchanted with the Mr. Olympia after those 3 years because you could have made arguments, at least one of those years, that he could have beat Phil. They were neck and neck, different types of physiques, but Phil was a little bit off at least one of those years, and Kai could have won the Mr. Olympia one of those years. And 3 years in a row to take second place, I think it really turned him against the Olympia contest. He came back in 2016, which is the last time he's competed, and he won the Arnold Classic. He won the Arnold Classic Australia. Then he went to Brazil, which was still called Arnold Classic Brazil. He won that. So bam, bam, bam. He won 3 Arnold Classics in a row. Did not do the Olympia. There was that famous down-to-the-wire scenario where we didn't know. He had another invite to the Olympia. Well, actually, he was qualified anyway. He didn't let anyone know until the very last minute that he wasn't going to be competing. And, he made that tearful video outside in the parking lot at night that they wouldn't let him compete. And, it's been said that, of course, he was going to be allowed to compete. He just had to sign the contract, and you know, a lot of people said it's terms of the contract he didn't agree with. So whatever the case may be, he didn't do the Olympia. He hasn't done the Olympia now since 2014. So this would be 5 years away from the contest. Kai Greene, he doesn't need the Olympia. You know, he's an actor. He's been on Stranger Things. He's got other acting projects. Generation Iron keeps him very busy. He does appearances and seminars all over the world. They're packed. They're sold out. You've seen the videos. You've seen he goes to places like India, and there will be 10,000 people waiting to see him and cheering for him. And, you know, he sells out any place he does any type of appearance around the world. He's working on a graphic novel. He goes to Comic-Con. Kai's very, very busy. He's got a lot of things going on. He's very successful. He does not need the Mr. Olympia contest. So the only question is, does he still want it badly enough? And is it worth coming back after all these years? Physique-wise, we know. We see him all the time on Instagram and Generation Iron. He looks the same. He hasn't lost any size. He's kept somehow, with all this traveling and these other things going on, he's kept up his training perfectly. He looks just as good as he did, you know, a few years ago when he was taking second to Phil Heath. So that's not a question. Could he do it? Of course he could do it. He would just need to commit to a 16-week prep. No big deal. Look, you know, shut down your appearances for 4 months. He could do it. Will he do it? Does he want to do it at this point in his life, in his career? He's over 40. I don't know. If I were Kai, it's hard to say. I can't say what I would do because I don't think like Kai Greene thinks. Only Kai thinks the way Kai thinks, as you guys know. But this would be his best chance to become Mr. Olympia because he's very capable of beating Sean Roden. I'm sure he's well aware of that. I'm sure a lot of the fans are well aware that Kai at his best, the only person who could really beat him at this stage with the current crop of competitors is Phil Heath. And Phil is out of commission this year. He's not competing. So this would be the time for Kai to come back and finally become Mr. Olympia. And then, you know, that would set the stage for next year would be, wow, Phil's come back. Sean wants his title back. Kai wants to keep his title. As a bodybuilding fan, I would be so thrilled to see that happen. I'd love to see Kai come back this year. I always enjoy it. Any real bodybuilding fan loved seeing Kai compete because he brought something special, something unique to the stage. You know, there's nobody like Kai, and any show with Kai in it is better. And, you know, obviously the Mr. Olympia, Dan Solomon, they want him in the show. He's going to sell tickets. He's going to build excitement. He's going to build a lot of anticipation. A lot of people will be really psyched about this Olympia if he competes in it. But knowing Kai, even if he does compete, he probably wouldn't let us know until like the day or two before. He'd keep us on the fence. I don't know whether he will or not. I sincerely hope, for the sake of Kai, for the sake of Mr. Olympia, and more importantly, for the sake of us, the fans, I hope this man comes back, gets that Olympia win. It'd be amazing to see him finally. He's had such a career, so many great wins, such a legacy he's going to leave behind. And I know the one thing that was just missing from that was an Olympia win. And, you know, there are guys that left the sport and they're still legends, like Kevin Levrone, Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler. They're still living legends. They'll be revered forever by the fans and the media, but it would have been great if they had an Olympia win. And I feel the same way about Kai. It'd be so great. It'd just put that icing on the cake if he could cap off his career with an Olympia win. I don't know whether he'll do it or not, but I surely hope he does. Kai, I don't know if you're going to hear this or not. I don't know if you'll watch this or not, but, you know we all want you in the show. So please sincerely consider it. Give it some thought. That's it for the Ron Line Report. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.